Good morning. Good morning, grade sixes. I hope that wasn't awkward. That thing kind of just flared up. So this is the summary for chapter 9 of the Hatchet. Like I said, we're going to try to do these for every time I assign you reading. We're going to go back, we're going to recollect, we're going to keep moving forward. All right? So what we start at the beginning of chapter 9 is we start realizing there's been a bit a shifting focus in Brian's mindset. Right? He's no longer the same Brian that he was when the plane crashed. Right? He's no longer about life at home, but he's more thinking about life in the woods, life in nature. So he's thinking about how he can survive, where he can live, what he can eat. Right? That was really chapter 7 and 8, moving into 9. Okay, we started having a shift in thinking about he's not really conflicting with nature so much as where he's trying to find how we can live in harmony. Right? If you're not sure what harmony is, think about like when we listen to some of our favorite songs, and there's maybe two singers, or there's two different instruments, and they're playing together, and it sounds actually better than the fact that they're playing together than they were separate. And that's really what harmony is, right? So he's trying to figure ways, how can we both benefit from this? How can we live together with nature? Okay? So he starts actually referring to his shelter as home in chapter 7 and 8 and carrying into 9. And 9 is when he starts coming up with the idea of how to have fire, right? By using his hatchet and striking and causing sparks. So the whole chapter is his struggle of how to actually start the fire. Okay? Throughout it, he has multiple attempts, and most of his attempts don't go well. Right? He fails. Okay? And so he's trying to get kindling, he's trying to do this, he's trying to add a little bit, he's cutting it down, it's not working, until he remembers, he has a connection. And remembers that what he learned in science class was that you need oxygen as fuel, right? So that's when he starts using his breath and starts breathing in life to the fire. And I just want to stop and talk about that idea of connection, because that's something that we should be doing all the time, and we do actually all the time as readers, right? But as you're reading this, and they make reference to the science class, maybe you're thinking about Ms. Zoe's class for a second, just for a second, but you're connecting the text back to your own life. And that's kind of what Brian's doing. Well, he's not reading, but he's living in this, and he's connecting what's happening with things that happen in his life. Okay, so he's going through his connections, he's realizing how to put the fire together, and he actually gets his first fire, and he's so excited, right? He's yelling, he's celebrating at the top of his lungs, and one thing that really sticks out to me is he talks to the fire, and he says, "Hello, friend." For the first time in however long he's there, weeks, months, he has a friend. He doesn't feel so alone. But a friend and a guard, right? Because remember, one of the reasons he had this is because of the incident with the porcupine. He doesn't feel so lonely, right? He didn't feel so that he was so alone, but then he looked around and he realized he wanted to share his accomplishment with someone, and there's no one to share it with. So we start seeing this idea of having a companion during isolation. I think it's a very fitting theme during our quarantine, and some of us might feel very alone. Right? And how important it is to find that thing that connects you, that guards you, that makes you feel safe and comfortable. Brian finally has that. Now we're going to see in chapter 10, chapter 11, hopefully, what does he do with that guard? All right? How does he keep working on that idea of shifting focus? How does he use the fire? Those are two questions you should ask yourself before reading the chapter. Read the chapter, answer the slides. Talk to you later.